Limited was Ryan Clark, ankle, shoulder. Trent Williams, knee. Full participation was Griffin, Porter, Perry Riley, Kerrigan, Murphy, and Robinson. All were full.
So I got to ask you, that's the first time Robert's been full. Did he get another clearance from the doctors, or just what's the obligatory question about the quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's the same thing for him. You know, he's basically he'll get cleared when they see him participate in all the drills and moving forward and able to make all the movements. And last week was more of introducing him. This week's more about getting him more reps with the ones a little bit more, and then seeing how he handles it. And then he'll go to treatment right now, and tomorrow morning we'll see how he's feeling, and doctors will continue to monitor him through each drill, through each movement, and see how he's doing, and then I'll have to decide whether or not he's ready from a mental quarterback standpoint.
Jay, what do you think is going to be best for you guys? And you said the decision is going to come down to you. How are you looking at it? What do you think is going to be best for the team?
What do I think? Well, you know, we'll see. You know, it's all going to depend on how he does in practice today or tomorrow and Friday and moving forward, how I feel like he's coming back. You know, really. From a physical standpoint, he looks good. Now it's a matter of mental and getting back into the football part of it. And if he looks good in that regard, then there's a chance he could play. And if not, if he needs another week, he'll take another week.
What's one thing he could do that would say to you, okay, he's ready? He needs to play.
It's the whole process of playing quarterback. You know, it's getting to the line of scrimmage, calling the plays, calling the runs the right way, dropping back, going through his progressions the right way. You know, he's taken 5 weeks off from having to do that in any live situation. Now he's got to go through it in practice, and let's see where he is from a mental standpoint. If he remembers, if he's retained the information, if I feel like he has, then there's a chance. You know, if I feel like he needs another week just to get his feet wet, might be the way to go too.
With all that going on, how do you split up the reps?
You know, just split them up.
Yeah. So like both Colt and Robert work with the first team this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that change anything for the offense, for the other 10 guys in the huddle? Does that affect them at all?
I hope not. You know, those guys are going to block and do what they got to do and run routes the way they run routes no matter if I was playing quarterback. They wouldn't run them as deep, but they'll play hard. That's the big thing. I think the guys are going to play hard. They've already showed they'll play hard for Kirk. They'll play hard for Colt. They'll play hard for Robert. So it shouldn't have any impact whatsoever.
Jay, because you have to get, obviously, one quarterback ready, do you have to just add first-team reps to a normal period because you can't split them 50-50 ideally in a week at that position? How do you kind of structure that?
Yeah, we added a couple, not too many, just because the linemen got to be in there. You know, you got to take care of everybody else. Today was a unique day. We didn't get as many reps because we just played on Monday night. Such a quick turnaround, so today was more of a just we were in shorts and no shoulder pads, glorified walkthrough, so to speak, so it wasn't very the tempo wasn't great up front, but the receivers were running full speed. But you know, we'll have to get more reps tomorrow. We'll have to split them up and make do with what we have.
Jay, last week you had said by Thursday you wanted to have that decision so you could know, so the player who's going to be the quarterback could know, so the rest of the team could know. Do you still see a need to have the decision by that time?
Yeah, I'd like to have one soon, but this one's a little unique circumstance because I'm not going to know for sure until I see Robert actually go through the process with our guys. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure I really evaluate where he is. And, you know, like I said, I think from a physical standpoint, you know, he might have been able to play last week. I don't know. But we're really trying to make sure, A, that he goes through these drills on these turf fields and there's no injury afterwards. Make sure it's stable, which we feel good about that. And then, B, just make sure from a quarterback standpoint that he feels good about his reads, his progressions, his pickups, responsibilities, his run responsibilities. You know, it's a lot of information. You know, you take 5 or 6 weeks off and you hope that he's in the meetings paying attention. We just want to make sure that he's retained everything, and so far it looks pretty good.
Jay, I want to ask you about the two guys who made their first starts Monday. Now you looked at the film and everything. Murphy and Tom Compton, how'd they do?
Murphy did good. You know, he did really good against the run. You know, we were a little concerned about that, but he really stood up against the run and made his presence felt. Pass rush wise, you know, he wasn't as effective. He's going against pretty darn good left tackle over there at Dallas, but he still was a nuisance. But we expect more from him in the pass rush standpoint, but we were impressed with him in the run. And for his first game on Monday Night Football, we thought he held his own and did a good job. Compton, same thing. You know, there were some plays I know he wished he had back. He went the wrong way on a run and got beat one other time. But for the most part, for his first full game at right tackle, I thought he played pretty darn good. But like everybody else, we expect more from him. But I was impressed with both of them.
Jay, how are you using Monday night, such a big win in Dallas, into prepping for the Vikings? How are you keeping that energy and that confidence and sort of making sure that the guys don't play down because it's just the Vikings, so to speak?
Oh, that's not an issue, I hope. We're 3-5, they're 3-5, and there's not just an NFL team that we have to even think about. You know, it was a great win for us, no question about it, but the true quality of a good team is how you respond after wins and losses, and we're hoping that we can respond and continue to build off our success the last 2 weeks. We don't have time to take any steps back. We have to continue moving forward, and I think our players understand the situation that we're in. You know, as good as you feel after a big win like that, you still look at the division race, we're still in last, so we still have a long way to go.
How did you assess the performance of your inside linebackers? Perry and Keenan seemed like they made some big impact plays at certain points in the game.
They did. You know, Keenan's still steady. You know, he's steady. He had a couple, you know, we let DeMarco out there a couple times, but for the most part, they played steady and consistent, you know, and actually Perry was the main reason the last drive of the game was stalled. You know, they had 2nd down and 2. He broke up 2 passes back-to-back, got them to 4th and 2, and made Tony come off his first progression and then scramble, and then that's when Breland got the knockdown. So Perry was very, very instrumental in that victory also. So those guys are athletic, as we all know, and they're just, the more reps they get and the more they play, the better they're going to get.
Okay. To follow up on that, with Keenan Robinson, are you starting to realize, like, it's been half a season for him now? Does he look like he's starting to diagnose things, just feel more fluid within what you guys want to do?
Yeah, he sure looks that way to me. You know, I think you feel him when you're on the field. He's starting to really bring the thump with him on the tackles also, and you know, his pass coverage, everything, he's feeling a lot more confident. You can tell. You know, last week against Tennessee, had 14 tackles, Defensive Player of the Week. This week against a very good Dallas team, he held his own and did a good job. So a guy like that with the athletic ability that he has, the more he sees, the more confident he gets with what he's going to do. He's going to be a dominant force because he's got the great athletic tools. Now it's just a matter of making him comfortable in the defense, and Coach Hazlitt and KO, they're doing a great job with him, teaching them what to do and how to do it.
Yeah, over the weekend, you made a move, brought Akeem Davis up, released Jamarcus Sanford. Could you give us the rationale for that move? And also, why Davis instead of Phillip Thomas? A lot of people wondering why he can't seem to.
Yeah, well, Davis makes an impact on special teams right away. He makes our special teams a lot better. He's a gunner, he's a flyer, and you know, he had a big play in the game again, and he's also in all the special teams, kick cover, and he's one of our best performers. That's the reason. And the only reason. You know, we're going to try to get Phillip up here sooner than later. He's making strides, you know, after he hurt his foot. You know, he's just wasn't playing like the Phillip we know he can play like, so it's important to get him in practice. And he's done a good job in practice, and hopefully we'll get him up. But Akeem's played because of the special teams.
Jay, obviously you know Coach Zimmer's strengths and style defense. What edge does that give you preparing for this game? And at the same time, is there any awkwardness in competing against, you know, I guess a friend?
No, we competed every day in practice. It was not friendly usually. You know, both of us are pretty good competitors, and you know, we all wanted to win the drill, definitely at Cincinnati. So we had our share of arguments and tension. But ultimately, I have a ton of respect for him, and as far as knowing what he's going to do. What makes his defense so good is not many people know what he's going to do, because that's why he's successful. They got a lot of different packages they can get to from a front-wise, from a blitz standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, that really makes them very, very effective. Very aggressive style. The corners, their linebackers are very disruptive, knock people off routes, and they have a great pressure package. So it's, you know, you watch a tape, and he's taken that defense who struggled a little bit last year into one of the top 5 or 6 defenses this year. And a lot of it's because of his scheme.
Jay, with Brandon Merriweather, when he came in here, he had missed half the games the last 2 years because of injuries or suspension. He starts out suspended for you. Did you ever wonder, you know, am I ever going to get anything out of this guy? And do you think you said it was the best game you'd seen him play for you, but to a lot of us, it was the best game he's played for Washington. Did something just click in last week?
I don't know. You know, he just played his butt off. I know that. He was excellent. He was all over the place. So whatever clicked in, we got to make sure it stays clicked in. You know, he's a good safety, man. He's got good cover skills. He can play man-to-man, and he's obviously a good tackler. And he proved that in the game against Dallas. He just got us, from a consistent standpoint, put another game together, back to back to back to back to back, and continue to get better. But we're very impressed with them, and I haven't had any doubts in Brandon personally. I've seen him, what he does out on the field. I've seen him communicate. He's a leader of that defense, one of the leaders of the defense, and gets criticized a little bit here and there like all of us, but I think he's a darn good safety.
Going back to Zimmer, they seem to be sending more pressure the last couple of games. Do you see him kind of getting to the point where he wants to be with this defense? You know the style, you know all that he wants to do. Are they close to where you think they can be as far as what he really likes to do and wants to do?
Yeah, I think they're close. You know, he's going to get what he wants. You know, he's that type of guy. He's very demanding of his players. He demands greatness from his defense. I mean, like I said, they're 6th in the league right now in defense, I think. 7th maybe, I don't even know. But they're playing fast, they're playing physical, and they're buying into his system. So when you have guys that are flying around to the football and they have a good scheme, a good blitz scheme that really keeps offenses questioning what they're doing, you know, you want to send 5 guys out in a pattern. Well, shit, if they bring all these guys, you got no chance. You want to keep your tight end in. If they play cover 2, you're losing an eligible guy. So they do a great job of keeping you off balance and confusing offensive quarterbacks and great quarterbacks. You know, I've seen, you know, when I was at Cincinnati, I've seen some of the best quarterbacks come in there and walk out of there scratching their head. So does a good job.
Defense for a guy who hasn't played maybe in 6 weeks to face like that?
It's hard defense for guys who played for 10 years to face. I promise you that. So it's not just young quarterbacks that have had trouble against them. It's veteran quarterbacks too.
Coach, I know a lot.
Yeah, nice try.
I know a lot goes into winning games, obviously, but so many young guys did so well last week and the game before that, and you've been in so many games. Are you watching this team just grow up right before your eyes now?
Yeah, we hope so. You know, part of the growing process is, like I said, is how you handle success along with adversity, and how we handle success will be very important. And playing a Monday night game and how we come off of a great high like that, playing at Minnesota is going to be a great challenge for the young guys, and hopefully they'll be up to it. But very impressed with a lot of guys on this football team, coaches included, and we just got to keep building on it and keep playing hard, and the players got to buy into what we're doing at practice and carrying it over to the games.
I mean, everybody saw from the get-go when you guys brought him here how physically talented he was, but I think the thing that stands out to some of us is how mentally he gets it, and his football acumen and all that. How quickly did it take you guys as a staff working with him day in, day out to see he's not only talented, but mentally he really gets it?
Yeah, it took a little bit. It's a couple days here and there. You know, just he's a smart kid. Loves football. You know, that's the one thing that you have a pretty good sense if a guy's going to get it or not by how much they really study the game. And he's here later than just about anybody watching tape. Really studies the game, wants to be great, and it's carrying over. You know, he's going to get challenged more and more, and I'm sure he's going to have his share of ups and downs. But he's a great competitor, and he's going to continue to flourish in the system if he works as hard as he's done.
Jay, how would you describe Alfred Morris's production so far this season for where he's at right now? If you had to describe him best, the good and the bad, how would you describe it?
Well, I think from an expectation level, I think we all expected him to have probably more yards, more touchdowns. And that's a combination of things, not getting as many looks, me not calling enough runs. Maybe, like I said, the running game, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. But it is where he is. He's still a force. He had 73 yards against the Cowboys, did some good things in that game, had a touchdown. And we're going to stick with him, man. We like Alfred, and from a statistical standpoint, we're all a little surprised he's probably down a little bit from where he's been, but we still have 8 games left, and I still anticipate him having a very solid year.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Jay,
Yeah.
of the former Louisville quarterbacks that's going to be out there, who was the best?
Jeez, come on.